Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Coach to Transformations Communities of Practice Team Coaching Series. So, our Communities of Practice is a learning space designed for coaches to come together, exchange experiences, explore real team dynamics, and deepen their understanding of coaching frameworks that support their collective growth. In this team coaching series, we focus on perspectives, practices, and approaches that help coaches navigate the complexity of working with teams, enabling alignment, collaboration, and systemic awareness. I'm Chaitanya, your host for today's session, and I'm pleased to welcome Varundeep, who will be leading us through the theme Understanding Systemic Systems Thinking in Teams, Seeing the Whole Picture. Over to you, Varundeep. Also, apologies. Also, I'd invite you all to keep your cameras on and have make this session a really interactive one. So let's all engage together, guys. So over to you, Varundeep.
Yeah, thank you, Chaitanya. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, if you can quickly let me know from where all of you are joining, it will be great to put those things into perspective during the session. Okay, great. Neither. Okay, great. So, I welcome you all once again, and we will start. So, today's topic, like Chaitanya mentioned, is understanding systems thinking in teams and seeing the whole picture. So, before I start, would you like to let me know what is your understanding of a system or any example of systems that you have seen? You can unmute or you can type in chat, whatever is comfortable to you. Any guesses? What is a system? Okay. Okay. Let's understand first what is a system, then what is systems thinking and how it applies to teams. So, system, there is a book, very famous book called Thinking in Systems by Donella Meadows. She talks about systems and she says that system is an interconnected elements organized to achieve a specific purpose or a function. Like human body is a best example of a system. Traffic is a system. And if you see, also team is also a system because if you see the elements are interconnected, the individuals are interconnected, and that teams, that those individuals are connected to solve a particular purpose, right? So by this definition, team is a system. But what are the other attributes that we see in systems? First, the elements consist of tangible as well as non intangible parts. Like when we say tangible parts, like people, and intangible parts like rules, processes, data, right? In a team setting, we also see these elements. Then there are interconnections. When we talk about a system, there will be elements which will be related to each other, they will be communicating to each other, and there will be feedback loops. And there will be certain rules, there will be information channels, there will be certain power dynamics, right? So in teams also, what we see people, we see their individual relationships, we see communication between them, and then there are feedback loops and power dynamics as well. Then, like we said, that a system is created to achieve a purpose or a function. So overall behavior, outcome or goal of the system is the objective of a particular system. Then what you have observed that in a case of a system, the sum, it will always be more than sum of its part. Like if I take example of my eyes, individually eyes may not be able to give me that particular benefit if they only are seeing. But when they behave into my system like human body, they are able to give signals to the brain and they can translate lot many things and can also help me visualize. and systems are everywhere, right? So I hope the definition of systems is clear to all of you. Yes, no, maybe in the chat, please. Okay, thank you, Sunil. Okay, now once we have understood what is a system, let's understand what is a systems thinking. But before, let's first understand that whenever something in a team changes, a person changes its behavior in a team, what do others do? They try to adjust, they try to react, they try to adjust, or they try to resist like ripples in the water. So that is what we call that the system is responding. Now, my question to you is that think of a time when a small change in your team caused a big ripple effect and what was really happening underneath. Can you think of a time, such a time, when a small change in your team caused a big ripple effect and you could later on figure out what was happening underneath? Let's take 2 minutes to think over and you can put in the chat or maybe you can let me know by unmuting yourself. Yeah. So, Chakarna, can you please unmute the people who have raised their hands?
Sure. One second.
Hi.
Yeah, hi,
Uh,
Shashikala.
yeah. Well, I have observed this ripple effect, what we are talking of here, like in organizations, especially when there is a change in leadership, some insecurity comes and, in sometimes it may be positive, sometimes it's negative, and sometimes it is both with a set of people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also system policies may change. So all this, has if definitely it has an impact on the working, the productivity, morale of the people. Yeah, this happens quite often, I feel, in organizations. Yeah.
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 So, and what do you think that was happening underneath the surface, which may not be visible to the top management or other people?
Yeah, it is the insecurity of the people, and sometimes it is also intercommunication between a set of people that also may happen because
Mm-hmm.
one person thinks and communicates to another person, and that person thinks something different. So, all that happens. There's a lot of
Right.
exchange, and I think, there's multiple effects are there in such
Yeah.
cases. Maybe
Right.
it may not be negative all the time, it may not be positive all the time, but yes, there are impacts. Yeah, even small policy changes also have impact. For
Right.
example, I will just say that you change working hours of an organization, even that may have an impact on people.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. So thank you very much. Very aptly said, Shashikala, that the small changes can create big ripple effects, which we may not think about. Vedika, you want to say something?
Yeah, almost similar to what Ms. Sashigala mentioned, but recently also I had a personal experience of working this in a community group, and then this one person came who did not believe in the policies, following by word, or actually taking it in a very different way, reading it in a very different, with a different perspective, and taking things in a very, very opposite way. And it actually created chaos. It's still a chaos in that community group. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, something in a change in a system, even that thinking or having a different perspective, and even especially if the person is on a higher, top level,
Mm-hmm.
top of the chain, it can create that ripple effect what you are mentioning.
Right, right. Thank you, Vedika. So I think all of us, most of us, and Mitul also says, discomfort in the team, that small changes can bring a big ripple effect, which we may not think of. Ruchi, you want to say something, please? Okay. So once we have understood what is system, we have also understood that there is a ripple effect. What is systems thinking? Systems thinking is a way of understanding how part of the system interact and influence each other. So what we need to remember is that when we are talking about system, and now please keep the context of teams in mind, that they are interconnected. So every member, every role, every process affects each other, right? And there is a systemic context. Like teams don't exist in isolation, right? They exist as a part of a larger organization. So if we are saying that, okay, individuals in a team, their behavior has changed, one person's behavior has changed, which has impacted the team, that impact doesn't stay constrained to that particular team only. It may reflect into interdepartment or intra-department or at the organization level also. So we need to understand while we are applying systemic thinking that what is the impact of that. The other thing is that there are always feedback loops. Some things will be creating a positive impact and some will be creating a negative impact. Some will be reinforcing certain impacts or flows. Like Ms. Shashikala also mentioned, that the changes or the flows may not be positive always and may not be negative also always. And then when we are trying to understand the systems thinking, we also try to understand not only what has happened, but we also try to understand what keeps happening. That means we try to identify the pattern. Like I give you an example of systems thinking. If systems thinking is missed, most of you, since most of you are joining from India, you might remember and recall that there was a river linking project, right? In river linking, India is a vast country, so there are certain areas where there are a lot of droughts and there are certain areas where there are floods. So leaders at a higher level thought, why not connect rivers of different areas so that we are able to solve the problem of floods in one area and drought in one area, and the water will be regulated across the rivers, right? I will not name the cities and states because there are other people. So let's keep the two rivers linked, River A and River B. So when these rivers were linked, what was happening that in case of River B, which was full of fishes, and a lot of fishermen were dependent upon that particular River B for fishing, they suddenly observed that their fishes have started depleting. At one point in time, the fishes were nearly extinct. So, a lot of fishermen lost their livelihood. But what actually happened? It was later discovered that in the River A, there were some fish eating species which were there, which were earlier constrained to River A only. But when rivers were linked, those species moved from River A to River B and ate all the fishes in River B, right? So, at the onset, any policy, any decision, any rule, right, we may think is very good. Like at the onset, we will say river linking project is a brilliant idea. Every river should be linked. But if you see the overall impact it has resulted into loss of livelihood and ecological imbalance at the site of River B. So this is what happens when we don't see the overall impact of any particular change and we simply go ahead and make those changes. And we forget that teams are systems, and systems, all the elements, all members, all people, all roles are interconnected, right? So I hope so far we are clear what is systems thinking and how does it actually relates with. Okay, Suresh, I will try to use a bit of Hindi and English, but there are participants from other regions also. So I'll keep it largely to English, but I can explain a bit in Hindi, right? So now we have understood systems, we have understood systemic thinking. Now let's understand what is systemic team coaching. So in coaching, what we do, traditional coaching, we focus on individuals and we focus on their goals. Before we start any session, we ask the group coachee, what is the objective and what is the purpose that they want to achieve for that particular session. It is largely one-on-one sessions, and we largely target on the performance improvement or the goal achievement that we have fixed for ourselves, right? But what systems thinking or systemic coaching brings in is that it understands that individuals don't exist in isolation. They exist as a part of the larger system, and teams are interconnected. And there are group dynamics, there are relationships, and there is a collective impact and organizational context that exists. Hence, from group coaching to team coaching, you will find that while we are trying to solve problems for a particular organization, particular team, there are a lot of elements at play which may not be visible to other people, right? And here, team coaching actually shifts your focus from individual development to intricate dynamics of team as a whole. It recognizes that teams can have challenges, and those challenges don't come from individual shortcomings. They are usually part of or coming from a systemic issues. Like I give you one example, which we are doing, one systemic team coaching, which we are doing at the moment. What we are seeing, we have a big team, and this is a non-profit organization. And this activity, we are seeing a lot of elements, and the organization is not able to achieve their objectives which they have set for themselves. And if you ask individual people, everybody will say that I'm doing my best. Still, we are not able to achieve our objective. The other teams are not performing their tasks. These processes need correction. And if you see overall, you will see at a surface level, you will see that there is a blame. But if you talk to individual people, they are very aspirational. They want to put their best. They want to achieve their goals, but they say we are not getting support. So in such a case, if you do a one-on-one coaching with them, obviously you will not be able to solve much of a purpose, because here individuals themselves feel that that is not their problem. It is a problem of somebody else, right? And in a group coaching, sorry, in one-to-one coaching, you can talk to that particular person. You can help him evaluate, understand his understanding, his level, and the objectives that he want to achieve. But in that one-to-one coaching, we will not be able to correct somebody else. So here we are doing a team coaching. We are making them understand how they can arrive at certain norms, how they can behave as a team, and how they can identify their own shared goals rather than individual goals, right? So at the onset of a team coaching, we start with a shared goal, a shared purpose, right? And here, if there are any questions, teams can let me know. And here I would say most of the teams, when they try to fix a problem in a team, they try to fix people. But systemic coaches, they focus on fixing the system, because they understand that issues are not coming because of individual issues. They are coming because of systemic issues, and systems need correction. Dr. Manoj, you have anything to say? Okay. So now, why do teams need systems thinking? Like we discussed, in a traditional team view, it is focused on individuals. We're trying to solve certain problems, and it is one-time solution, and it is addressing the symptom, because the underlying problem is somewhere else, right? Like Ms. Shashikala mentioned, if leadership change is there, you can call individual people, you can motivate them, but that individual is not working in isolation. He's working with his people. One person will come and will gossip something. That particular person will again get into that same victim mode that he was earlier. So now how systemic team view gives that it focuses on interaction. Whenever there is a leadership change, the teams will identify who is the brand ambassador, who is the influencer, who will be able to create positive environment, whom people look forward to. It is not that always people will listen to the leader. There is somebody in the team who has a larger influence than the leader. So how to influence that? The person who is coming in, is somebody just playing the power dynamics, playing the politics just to benefit himself or herself? So systemic team view actually helps you identify that particular thing, that you can go to the root cause and identify what is happening underneath, which may not be visible at the surface level, right? And like one-to-one coaching is kind of a one-time solution that the coachee create with you, right? And he may not be following that particular thing unless and until there is that issue reappears, or that particular person doesn't come to you and try to solve that. But team view, it is a continuous learning, because teams are evolving, people are evolving, everybody is evolving. So you can't say that, okay, I've learned something one time and it will go on forever, because this is a dynamic setup. The learning is continuous learning, and it does not work on the surface. It tries to get into the root cause and try to address that particular issue at the base level. Now, I give you one example. At in one of the organization, we saw that the surface level problem was that team was continuously missing on the deadlines. Right? If you usually ask the first thing, like we are all physicians, that like if somebody has a headache, we are too quick to suggest a medicine for that. In such case, organizations also have a lot of physicians. Once you tell them a problem, they will immediately say, okay, in this case, I'm sure that team has time management issues. Let's get them into a time management training and the issue will be solved, right? So what is happening here? We are thinking that it is an individual problem. It can be solved with this quick remedy. We are fixing the symptom. However, when we delve deep into that particular organization or team, we figured out that there were cross-departmental dependencies due to which they were missing on the timelines. It was not an individual failure, it was a systemic issue. They had not defined clearly how those dependencies will get resolved, right? So, if you see in this particular case, there is another example which I will give you, that a multinational HR team was actually facing delayed recruitments. And surface level, what you will say immediately? Recruitment team is inefficient, good for nothing, right? So, but in systemic discovery process, what we identified, that there were conflicting KPIs which were given to HR and the hiring managers. Obviously, everybody was trying to meet their KPIs, but since they were conflicting, they were actually creating a negative impact, right? Leadership decision delays were happening, and there was no candidate feedback loop that was existing, right? So in this particular case, the intervention was that we mapped the stakeholder relationships, we facilitated joint reflection, and we created shared goals across teams. This, because we did not consider it as an individual issue, we saw it from a system point of view, we were able to see the gaps, right? And this led to 25% reduction in recruitment time, improved collaboration, and shared accountability emerged out of it. So once you will bring a systems view, the blame will disappear and collaboration will emerge. The only point is that this we cannot achieve in a one-to-one coaching, because it has its own merits, it has its own approach, right? We are not saying that it is bad, but we are saying that in a team setup, some of the issues may require a larger systemic view, which may not be solved at individual levels. If there is something that needs to be solved at individual level, one-to-one coaching is the way to go. But if there is something where team dynamics is playing, right, where there are power dynamics, we need to understand and see it from a systems point of view. I just looked at chat. Okay. Now, in this particular case, how we did the systems mapping, for the hiring managers, we provided the role needs and feedback. For the candidates, we put in apply, interview, and give feedback process. And in case of leadership, we set the priorities and the approval tag for hires. And then for the process owners, we manage the workflows and metrics. So we visualized the system that revealed the hidden dependencies, conflicting priorities that individual performance reviews could have never uncovered, right? Otherwise, in usual sense, we would have considered it as an individual performance issue rather than a systemic issue that needs to be there. So there are various tools that exist for systemic awareness. Like we have team constellations, we have in team constellations, what we do, I am not explaining all these tools in detail because each and every tool will require a full session in itself, right? So I'm just talking about team constellations, which is you visualize how different roles, relationships interact within a team setting. Which person is in a team? What are the dynamics? Who is talking to whom and who is not talking to whom? How people are seeing each other. Are they seeing them as friends? Are they seeing them as just micromanagers? How they are seeing, right? Then systemic questions. What is something that we are not seeing, right? Like in the recruitment question, what we are seeing recruitment delays and what we are seeing inefficient recruitment managers. But what we were not seeing at that point in time was that there are underlying conflicts, underlying dependencies which are uncovered. And then we may also try to understand who is benefiting from this pattern which we are seeing in a team setup and what is that particular team is avoiding, right? So that will uncover a lot of things which we will not be able to understand at an individual level. Then there is a feedback mapping that is there. We will try to understand what is reinforcing, what is balancing, and which is driving the team behavior, right? Like if there are regular delays which are happening, so what is reinforcing that particular behavior? If people are usually coming late to the office, what is reinforcing that particular behavior? If there is something like in case of a population gets balanced by births and deaths, right? But if births are more, deaths are less, obviously that balance will not happen. So we'll try to understand what is impacting what. And then it is very important that in one-to-one coaching, we usually interact with that one person. But in team coaching or when we take the systemic view from that particular person, we also try to understand how external stakeholders are thinking or viewing that particular team. And this external stakeholder may not be an external party to the organization. It can be a team which is intra-department, but this is separate from the members of this particular team, right? And what are its dynamics? So we try to understand it from this particular perspective. If anyone has any questions so far, maybe I can take those questions. Okay, there are no questions. Okay, so now in case of systemic team coaching, what is the role of the systemic coach and what is the role of team or the coaching? So in case of one-to-one coaching, we say that the coach is just a facilitator of the conversation and he is just co-creating that particular goals and achievement, like how to solve that particular or achieve that particular goal. In case of systemic coaching, the systemic coach acts as a facilitator. He or she observes the patterns which are there in the team and challenge the assumptions of that particular team. Focuses on both how and why behind the team behaviors, right? And then here the expectations is to help team see its own systems, right? Because when you usually give one example, if you hold the newspaper too close to your eyes, your vision becomes myopic. You are unable to read it very clearly. So when we are working in our organization setup or within our teams, we usually miss out on a lot of things which are happening, but those become invisible to us. So systemic coach actually helps teams to see their own system and how things are behaving, how relationships are working, how feedback loops are working, what is impacting what. And it also helps them to uncover the dynamics and feedback loops. And it also, the coach also guides collective reflection and action. In case of a coachee or the team, here what we are expecting from the team is that active participation, willingness to explore, experiment, and own collective outcomes. Expectation here is that team is ready to gain the clarity on the team challenges, right? Because coach has already helped them see the system. Then they should get the clarity on what are the team challenges. They should acknowledge that, okay, these challenges actually exist, and help and team should develop their own shared strategies and solutions. Coach, again, here also like one-on-one coaching, here the systemic team coach will also only facilitate the ownership of creating that strategy, executing that strategy lies with the team itself, right? And how they can improve their communication, collaboration between the team among themselves is also the responsibility of the team itself. So, outcomes that we are expecting from a systemic coach is that enhanced team awareness and agility, sustainable behavioral change. It should not that like an elastic, once that force is removed, it goes back to the same situation, right? And increased capacity creation for self correction. And in case of teams, they should develop in stronger interpersonal relationships, improved problem solving abilities, and greater collective impact and performance. So here, very clearly, the roles of system coach and team are defined. The ownership, as in any coaching, lies with the coachee only, right? It is not coach's responsibility to give and implement the solutions. The solution implementation is with the team only. So, I think, yeah. So, key takeaways, if I summarize, and probably this is the last slide that I have for this particular session, and then I will open floor for questions, that teams needs to be seen as systems. They are system of relationships, roles, rules, and they are not just collection of individuals. We must understand, we must keep this thing in mind, and we should. Systems thinking actually reveals patterns, root causes. And here, the solution always lies in uncovering the patterns and solving the systemic issues rather than just blaming the people that they don't want to do certain things, right? And last takeaway, which I will say, is that coach's role here in systemic team coaching is to hold the mirror to the system, not to fix the individuals. The coach will help the teams understand, view the system, and fix those issues. The fixing of the issues needs to be done by the team itself. And like Peter Senge, the author of Fifth Discipline, says that when you change the way you see the system begins to change. It is just that level of perspective that we want to bring in, and that will give you a insight and perspective, and it will cover. And most of the times you will find teams are surprised to see the dynamics which are happening, how they are behaving, how they are collaborating, how one feedback, how their behavior is impacting the other person and the team itself. So, team coaching or systemic view of the team solves a lot of problems just because people are now able to see that. Otherwise, it is usually a case of like one elephant and six blind men story that all of us have heard, that everybody sees the problem or the issue as perspective to their understanding of that individual. They will say, like in that elephant and six blind men case, who has the ear of the elephant will say that, okay, problem looks like this and this is at fault. And somebody else, everybody has their own point of view. But here, systemic team view or systemic coaching actually gives you overall view, how the overall problem looks like. And then it is responsibility of the team to try finding out the solutions and the solutions that we need to put across. And one question for reflection after this particular session that you have learned. I hope I have been able to share some bit of a knowledge that what is one invisible pattern in your team that you will start noticing differently after today. Maybe you can take 1 minute or two, write in chat, or maybe unmute and let me know. One invisible pattern in your team you will start noticing differently after today. Yes, Ruchi, systemic coaching will definitely work when there is authenticity and transparency over personal agendas, and that is what the systemic coach, the systemic team coaching will help you. The teams help the teams to view that where authenticity is missing, where transparency is missing, and then you will also be able to uncover a lot of other issues which and the dynamics which are playing at the team. And we are not trying to find the solution at the very first team coaching session. It will take some time, but we will be able to identify the patrons and team as a team, because here we are not working with individuals. Even the team leader is part of the team and all team members are equal. So as a team, we will have to find out what are the issues and what are the solutions that are there. Question. Yes, always saying yes or no to suggestions. Yes, okay. And that is, thank you, Vedika. Question is, diagnosis is responsibility of the coach or the team, facilitated by the coach. So diagnosis it will be facilitated by the coach at that point in time, and team has to discover. Because if you will tell them that this is the problem, they may become defensive, they might get offended, and they may not take that up, that this is the issue. So the coach will facilitate, and team is able to identify and acknowledge and then work on it. Okay, how to start looking and observing differently, any initial steps? Okay. So Kate, here, like I said, once you start seeing, obviously at a system level, once you see, like in a team, don't see team as a bunch of individuals. See how that team dynamics are at play, right? How they are interconnected. What is the dependency between each other? Sometimes you find that two people who are working on a project, one person wants to take all the lead and he will try to hide information, he or she will try to hide information from the other person so that other person doesn't look good, right? And that person can become an hero while solving that. And we have also seen some people intentionally don't work on the problem till it escalates to that level that it comes to the knowledge of the higher team management, and then this person jumps as a superhero, solves that problem and takes all the credit. So all these things you will only be able to see if you are watching it from a distance, right? If you are too much closer, like I said, holding newspaper too close to your eyes will create a myopic vision. Just observe the things at a distance. Just try to see like how things are working. What are the patterns that you are seeing in the teams? Are you seeing lack of trust? Are you seeing lack of accountability? What are the surface level issues are there? And drill down slowly and gradually within the system. Try to identify the systemic issues, and then you will be able to uncover the loops, reinforcing loops. And once you will try to understand that, the things will start unfolding to you by yourself. The best part being a systemic coach is that if you will not put yourself as a part of the team and stay disassociated, you have a clear view. The teams usually have a muddy view, they are not able to see. So the only point is that we have to keep ourselves disassociated with the problem. We have to see from a distance and help the team observe and see that pattern. Thank you, Shabnam. Could these dynamics also be applied to classroom training sessions to make learning collaborative? Definitely, we can do that. So if we are trying to do that, so if we are seeing that participants in a training session, we know that there are different kinds of people who will be there in that particular session, and that is the reason we try to understand the audience first, and we try to see like what kind of patrons may emerge during that particular session, right? And who is the, and since if you are doing trainings for a long time, obviously you are able to find out who is the influencer in the room, right? And then you can manage the patrons accordingly, right? And look at the whole picture rather than putting blame on individual basis. Yes, Mali, thank you. Any
Can I
other
ask? Yeah, can I just ask a question? This is Shabnam. Hi.
yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
was just
please.
saying, so I actually am trying to get into the space of coaching for the Gen Z in the
Okay,
workplace.
okay,
And here is where it's almost like two sides where the Gen Z believes they're always, people out to
mm,
get them, and the other
mm,
side believes that these people have no manners, no. So
yeah, yeah,
it impacts the dynamics in college settings when teachers
right,
feel disconnected, and also within organizations where there are
mm-hmm,
these biases already in place.
right,
And so I'm not sure which is a good starting point, because to
okay,
get people to start rethinking is a very difficult place.
yeah. I understand. Shabnam, have you seen Kung Fu Panda movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you recall a scene, there is Shifu, who is the coach, right?
Yeah.
And Po, who is the panda, who's
Yeah.
what happens initially, if you see, recall, Shifu is trying to implement or put across his ways of coaching or teaching Po, right? But
Yeah.
despite his immense effort, he failed at every attempt. But one day he observes that Po could climb multiple stories just to get
To
his
get the
cookies,
dumpling. Yeah.
right? And the dumpling, whatever is of his interest. So, as a coach, he left forcing his way. He started observing Poe, and he tried to give the things in his way, which he
Hmm.
finds important. So usually when we deal with team settings and organization settings, and like the already biases, because we are human beings and we are creation of emotions. So usually we try to keep our perspective in mind. We, if you will just give them, try to understand what is the dynamics behind their thinking and how, and then try to bring your perspective, it will be better for them rather than just trying to force your system. So I always keep that particular thing, that Shifu being the best coach available at that point in time with respect to that movie failed because thought only from his point of view. The way when he started thinking from that point of view, which was important for the coachee, the things began to change. Right?
Agreed. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a lovely example. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shapna. Yeah, Ms. Shashikala.
Hi.
Yeah.
Just one question. Like when it comes to a large organization, right? And when you're doing, say, systemic coaching or you
Mm-hmm.
do for a
Mm-hmm.
particular set of team you will be having, because say suppose an organization has had 50,000 employees. Still, I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking a not a very large.
Yeah.
And you have in your coachings, like, like maybe 25, 50 or 100 people
Yeah. Yeah.
who may not be really reflective of the entire organization and the
Yeah.
productivity and whatever the
Right.
morale,
Right.
etc. Then how do you go about it? This is one question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And second is, like, how do you show the mirror and to whom do you show the mirror, right? In
Right.
this, in such
Yeah.
such situations.
Yeah. So, Ms. Shashikala, in this particular case, usually what happens when you go in for a systemic team coaching, usually there will be a sponsor who will come to you and say that this is okay, this is the problem that I want to solve for. And this is a group that for which I want to solve for this particular problem, right? They will identify, okay, these are the people whom I want to work with. So here we are not trying to boil the entire ocean in one go. So we are taking what the sponsor says. We will fix a contract accordingly, and then we are responsible for delivering the outcome for that particular team. If they say we want to do it for the entire organization, probably then we have to divide them into multiple groups. We may also need to do a pre study to understand what patrons are at play, and then collectively, along with the stakeholder, we will come up with like what are the different teams we need to work on. And it may also happen that there might be a one-on-one coaching also required for the team members. It may be actually issue at the individual levels also that needs to be fixed, right, in order to solve for a larger goal. So this, I will say, answer to this, I will not give you a general prescription for that. It will depend upon when you will interact with the sponsor, the people who are involved, that will give you a clarity and understanding how you are going to deal with this particular problem. And obviously entire bringing one entire 5,000 people, 50,000 people in one room, it is very, very difficult. So we have to work with smaller teams, solve those small bit of problems. And like they always say, how you eat an elephant, it is always bite by bite. So this same strategy I think applies here as well.
And just one more connected question. See, when it comes, another thing is that just the previous question was based on Gen Z, right? What you were addressing. So how do you bridge generation gaps, right, in this? Because see, in organizations, there can be a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, right? Everybody's thinking is different, approach is different, right? Mindset is different, right? Acceptance and tolerance levels are different. Right?
Definitely.
So then how
Right.
do you look at it?
So, like I said, when you take a systemic view, you will also try to understand what are the power dynamics at play. It is not always that the oldest one or the person with the highest power has the complete influence on the team. Sometimes the junior most person, he or she may not have any authority. However, he or she is very influential. So we'll try to uncover the patterns. The issue is that whenever we go as a coach, and I also, when I started coaching, I wanted to solve the problem on the very first instance that is there. So in systemic team coaching, the good part is that here we try to uncover the patterns first. And then we try to find out how this can be solved. But solving that particular problem is not coach's responsibility. They have to work with the teams and try to find solutions for it. So once you will start looking at it, that you have to facilitate that particular process, you have to help them see the challenges and come up with shared goals and solutions, the things will be much, much easier. It will not be like burden on you as a coach that you have to be solving that particular problem.
Yeah.
I hope I have been able to.
Thank you. Yeah. You have addressed it nicely. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
Hi, Varundeep. This is Raju Bhatnagar. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not a question. I just wanted to share a perspective of a coaching engagement that I'm currently engaged in.
Okay.
And to give you a bit of a background, this is a case of a reverse merger where a smaller company has acquired a larger company.
Okay.
And the smaller company has a younger cross section of leadership. The larger company has an older cross section of leadership. The leadership at the top level has been aligned. So there's a common leadership, but the organizations haven't got integrated as yet. The runway is 12 months for the integration to get completed. I was brought in 3 months after the merger was announced, and the leadership has announced that there is, at the end of 12 months there will be a level of attrition. People will be let go. So currently, and my engagement is a hybrid engagement, so there's one-on-one and team coaching put together. And it's been left to me how many, say, one-on-ones and how many team sessions. But the dynamics have become very vicious because it's a question of survival. And each individual, this is tier 2, one level below the CXOs. Each of them is hell-bent on proving themselves to the detriment of others. So actually pushing them down and whole host of negative behavior. So I just wanted to share this, saying that this is it's a strange situation. Team dynamics is vitiated because it's a question of individual survival. So I
Yes.
don't have an answer as yet. I'm still engaged in it. I'm going to figure out. I just wanted to put it across to a larger community to see if there are any thoughts that the community as a whole would have.
Yeah. So while I don't know the exact, while you have given a context, I clearly don't know the exact dynamics. Probably we can connect offline and discuss a bit more and try to
Sure.
see like how it can be approached further, if that works with
Sure.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. Right. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any other question? Any other view?
It may be answered earlier. I don't know. Just I have the curiosity in the discussion. I came to just observe systemic coaching and team coaching. Two words you had shared.
Yes. Yes.
So how they are different each other, or they are interlinked?
No. When we talk about team coaching, it is actually a systemic team coaching because you can't, like I said, no, teams are systems, and whenever you are coaching a team, you have to take a systems view, and that is where the word systemic team coaching actually emerged. So we have a traditional coaching, which we call one-on-one coaching, and then team coaching or systemic team coaching is one and the same thing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
But
so much.
here approach will be overall system only, not with the taking one objective or one goal. Is that?
Yes, so while you are defining a shared goal, the team will define a shared goal. In one-on-one coaching, individual will define the goal. That is individual goal. And in case of a team coaching or systemic team coaching, the entire team will decide a shared goal that they wish to achieve. That is the difference.
Is it team or the sponsor or the person who is the one point contact?
No, it is not. The team is actually the team leader and the team members who are there, which in consultation with the sponsor will be decided because we have to contract this entire engagement, like what is that we wish to achieve. But team will be like the team. It may not include sponsor, right? The team will be defined by the contract. It will be written in your contract what is the team that you will be working with. And the stakeholders that sponsor will let you know regarding that.
And the goal of this coaching will be decided by the team lead, not by the team members, because team members are part of the coaching. And
here we are saying in a team coaching, the team leader is also part of the team, and all are equals when we are dealing with the team as a coaches.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right? Yeah. Any other questions? Any other reflections, inputs? Sure, Vedika, thank you very much for joining. So, Chaitanya, it looks like there are no more questions.
And one more question I have. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Since it is a team coaching and systemic team coaching we are discussing, if there is something improvement is required from the organization or the whatever the process they are following, and sometimes not sometimes most of the head of the departments or divisions they have high esteem, and it is very difficult to make them to understand in a positive way. These are the changes need to be done or something like that to achieve the goal. What is it is? So how to communicate with them?
So, Rajendra, like we said, when we are working with the team will define their strategies, their solutions, right? So when they are trying, so you are not communicating the solutions to anybody. It is the team who will be implementing the strategies and solutions. You as a coach are just facilitating and helping them discover what could be the strategies and solutions they can come up with, right? I hope I am able to make
I
some.
agree with that. That is exact what coaching, either individual or team coaching. But however, there are certain things like, for example, let me take myself. If somebody came into my, maybe I'm just small employee, I'm not a head of the thing. Let us assume I'm head of the department. I develop some system which is my pet, my own develop. And in coaching, came out somehow I also sense that there is a something I need to improve that. But as a psychology, I mean, any person, since the person is owning to the heart, it is the person will not ready to adapt that new change, as we are discussing in this discussion. It is
So,
we don't guide them, but without that change, it will not serve the purpose.
so when we are contracting, so that is where we will contract that particular thing. So if the team members are not ready to implement it, that obviously that is a failure at their end, because we will, as coaches, we are not responsible for forcing any change to the organization. It has to be dealt by the organization themselves. We can only facilitate them, let them know that that these are the challenges, view the system, finding the solution, implementing that is their responsibility. And obviously, you can, while you will always have a sponsor who has contracted, you can always tell them that this is what team has identified, and they will themselves solve for that particular thing. It is, if it does not get implemented within the organization, it is not a failure at the coach's end, right? Because the coach had the responsibility or contracted that we are going to uncover the hidden patterns, the challenges, and facilitate the team, right? And help them see the invisible or the hidden patterns. But it is the responsibility of the team that they have to find the way how they will implement that particular solution in their own organization.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for patiently
Right.
listening and answering my question. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for the inputs and excellent questions. I hope I could do some justice to today's session.
Wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great session, Varundeep.
Thank
It
you.
was
Insightful
excellent.
and informative.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
Varundeep. It was a really
Thank
good
you.
session.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.